Chase Headley has made it. Oh, what a catch by Headley. All right, as Paul has been saying, it is set up now for Chase Headley to be the hero.
I'm still calling the hero, though.
Right here, you're calling it.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's see what he does. That one is lined to the left center field. It's a base hit. Chase Headley with the game-winning RBI. Robert scores, and the Yankees win 2-1. A long day's journey in tonight, and the Yankees win a game they really had to win. Oh, yeah, it took 14 innings, but what an ending for the Yankees as they win 2-1. Another game tonight. Yes, it's time for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the Texas Rangers against the New York Yankees in Game 3 of a 4-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Paul O'Neill and John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay. Long day for the Yankees, but an even longer day for Chase Headley, and he made it pay off.
Well, he made it worthwhile. A long travel day from Chicago where he thought he was going to be playing against the Cubs. He shows up at Yankee Stadium, meets some coaches, meets some players, and then gets a game-winning hit in the bottom of the 14th. This is the way you want to meet your teammates. Celebration out on the field, hugs all around, and then a Gatorade bat ends an eventful day for Chase Headley.
All right, so that was last night. Let's look at tonight's pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Darvish is going to go for the Rangers 9-5, 2.88. And David Phelps for the Yankees. And Paul, David Phelps has stepped up and pitched very well of late.
He has. I mean, he has an opportunity. He's made some starts. And if you watch his last start, he had a good fastball, and he also had a good off-speed pitch, but he painted that fastball. But look towards the end of this. A lot of looking called third strikes. For some reason, a lot of guys give up on what he does. His guy has not lost a game since June 7th. He's been really good.
The Yankees need to be good tonight against Darvish. Another injury for the Yankees as Kelly Johnson strained left groin. When we get back, Meredith Marakovitz will detail the newest member of the DL. That's next, right here on Yes.
Baseball on Yes. Game 3 of a 4-game series between the Yankees and the Rangers set to get underway in just a little bit. Hey everyone, I'm Meredith Marakovitz. The Yankees are coming off a big win yesterday, a dramatic come-from-behind 14-inning affair where they picked up the W, but that W came at a price. Tonight's injury update is brought to you by Montefiore Medical Center. Montefiore inspired medicine. Kelly Johnson looked as though he pulled up a little bit running to first base yesterday. He was taken out of the game and sent for an MRI. The diagnosis, a grade 1 groin strain, so he was placed on the 15-day DL. Chris LaRue was brought up from AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre to add some depth in that bullpen after the long game yesterday. To make room for LaRue on the roster, Bruce Billings was designated for assignment. So with Kelly Johnson out for at least 2 weeks, a guy that played both first base and third base, and with Teixeira still a question mark, Joe Girardi is searching for a new first baseman. And for the second straight night, he'll go with catcher Brian McCann at first base, a move he feels pretty comfortable with.
I mean, he's done a good job. I think he understands the position. The good thing is, and I know it's a while ago, but he played it in high school, so he kind of understood the position going in.
Does it also enable you to maybe take a little bit of the wear and tear away from him from catching and not giving him a half day, still playing 9 innings in the field, but maybe giving him a little
Absolutely. It might be a way you can keep his bat in the lineup a little bit more, and he doesn't get as beat up.
Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. Michael Kay, John Flaherty, and Paul O'Neill coming back with Lineups First Pitch Baseball right here on Yes.
By the Volkswagen Turbocharged Sales Event. Visit VWDealer.com. By the Syracuse Orange, New York's college team. By La Quinta Inns and Suites. Wake up on the bright side at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book now at LQ.com. And by Honda. Get a great deal on a new car you'll love at the Honda Summer Clearance Event. Some ominous clouds overhead, but we are ready for baseball here at the stadium. Yankees have taken the field. David Phelps is on the mound. We'll take a look at the Rangers starting lineup that he's going to face, and that lineup is presented by Chevrolet. Shin-Soo Choo is in left field. He's going to lead off, batting second. The shortstop, Elvis Andrus. Alex Rios is back in the lineup. He'll bat third and play right field. Adrian Beltre, the third baseman, cleans up the number 5 hitter. First baseman, Jim Adduci. J.P. Arancibia is the DH. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing center field, Leonis Martin. Chris Jimenez is going to catch. He's going to bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing second base, Rogmed Odor.
Well, getting the start for the New York Yankees, David Phelps taking his warm-up pitches out on the mound. We'll take a look at his numbers. It'll be his 15th start, 4-4 with a 3.87 ERA. We'll look at our pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. You see with some of those numbers, he was a reliever early, but he is a full-time starter now, and the Yankees lucky to have him. 4-4 with a 3.87 ERA as a starter, and he sets the tone early. That first inning ERA 0.64, second lowest in the major leagues, and does a great job with runners on base. 4 for 36 runners on base batting average against his last 4 outings, and 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position.
Yankees trying to make it 2 in a row against the Rangers. Let's take a look at the defense behind David Phelps, and it's presented by Geico. In the outfield, Gardner, Ellsbury, and Ichiro left to right. Infield, Chase Headley makes his first start as a Yankee at third base. Derek Jeter's at short. Brendan Ryan gives Brian Roberts a day off. He'll play second. And Brian McCann is at first. Francisco Cervelli behind the plate. David Phelps is on the mound. Well, the Rangers come in at 40-60. As they try to take the second game of this 4-game set. They've won one. The Yankees have won one. This is game 3. And the finale is tomorrow afternoon. Shin-Soo Choo digs in. He's ready. So is Phelps. Let's do it here in the Bronx. And the first pitch is low and inside. We are underway. Home plate umpire is the crew chief, Dell Scott. Dan Iasonia at first, C.B. Buckner at second, and Quinn Walcott is over at third. And there's a strike. 1-1.
Joe Girardi mentioned the other day it's all about, you know, winning series and this. When you lose that first game of a 4-game series, it's very hard to win the series, you know, to rattle off 3 in a row, especially with Darvish on the hill tonight. So they've kind of put themselves in a hole, but they had an opportunity with a big win last night. Huge start for Phelps today to try to get deep into this game. Obviously the bullpen's a little depleted tonight.
Ground ball up the middle. Defense played perfectly. And they turn a base hit into an out. Yankees baseball available in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your remote. SAP is brought to you by Infinity. So that Jeter shaded up the middle, and that's right where Choo hit the ball. 1 down. And that's going to bring up Elvis Andrus.
The Yankees win that 14-inning game last night. You wonder if the momentum carries right over to tonight. Well, your momentum is only as good as that guy out on the mound who has a tough assignment matching you, Darvish, tonight.
And a strike.
Guys like Andrus who are good players and he was over 6 last night. They scare me the next day because sooner or later, you know, you're going to catch up. Guys are going to get their hits after a night. 0 for 6 is a tough night.
Line to right field. Ichiro's right there for the second out. Well, let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. It's 80 degrees and it's 80% humidity. 10 miles per hour wind, partly sunny. Thunderstorms are possible. Here's Alex Rios.
You know, if it's going to rain, you might as well have a full-blown, you know, blown thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want drizzle or something.
No drizzle. There was a lot of rain north of here earlier. Rios missed the first 2 games of the series with a sprained right ankle, but looks like he's healthy there as he lines a single to left field.
Rios is a good all-around player, no doubt about it. I mean, he's done good things. And surprising, you look at his stats this year: 4 home runs. He's got more pop than that, but he can do pretty much everything on the field. Defensively, runs well, hitting over 300.
You mentioned for a few games all the injuries for the Texas Rangers. Lineup looks a little bit better and lengthened with him in there. They always seem to have a big year, down year, Paul. You know, like big year with home runs, then he comes back the next year, the numbers are down.
Here's Beltre. 4 hits in his last 23 at bats, still hitting .325. He was 1 for 6 last night. You see Rios with that single. So many people are looking for bats, outfield bats, and your Marlon Byrd, your Matt Kemp. That's a guy that also might be on the trade market. Breaking ball strike.
I've seen that high curveball this whole series. It's been called. I don't know if this Dale Scott is answering to Beltre right now. I don't know if that's part of this crew or. I'll tell you one thing, Flash. I thought Quinn Walcott did a good job last night. I mean, 14-some innings, 15 innings, whatever. I mean, he was pretty consistent. You didn't see a lot of arguments, and he didn't kind of zone off because of a long game. He stayed with it.
I can remember 2 pitches, and Cervelli was involved in both of them, catching and at the plate. He got called out on a strike 3. And when you go 14 innings and you can only remember 2 pitches that were questioned, that's a great night.
The rookie umpire, he's glad to be here. It's like just like a player, you know, they get a little extra incentive, a little more emotion out there.
1-1.
See, this is what you start to wonder. I mean, Beltre argues on the first pitch, and then Phelps, you could see, thought he needed that pitch. So.
Count 1-2.
When you have a pitcher like Phelps, that first inning is always so important to see how far an umpire will stretch off the plate, either in or out. I know you probably don't want to hear this, Paul, but pitchers and catchers will talk. I need to see how far I can get off the plate. Bob Tewksbury, one of the greats at that.
Runner goes, throw to second. Got him. Swipe tag by Brendan Ryan. And Rio said, really? But the second base umpire, C.B. Buckner, punched him out. Here comes Ron Washington to have a talk. Did they get him? We shall see. We'll stay right here. Another look. I don't know.
Tough to tell from that angle.
So Washington just waiting for confirmation from his dugout, and they are going to challenge.
Well, Rios missed a few days with that ankle problem and running right away in the first inning, so obviously not bothering him anymore.
Tim Bogart, the bench coach. He's telling Washington. He's telling Rios to get on the base, not to stray too far away. The Yankees are in the dugout anyway.
You wonder if there's an angle that's conclusive where you can actually see if Ryan caught the back of the jersey.
Heard much about the challenge. I think the players they can deal with it because you see how many calls have been reversed. Up in the booth here, sure, fans want to see it called, but I haven't really heard umpires comment whether they like this or they don't like this.
And I guess that's it. They say they are not going to overturn the call, so it's caught stealing 2-4. Rangers nothing. Yankees coming to bat. Against this Yankee starting lineup, which is presented by our good friends at Lexus. Brett Gardner in left field will lead off, batting second the captain, the shortstop Derek Jeter. Jacoby Ellsbury in center field hit third. Cleanup hitter DH Carlos Beltran. Brian McCann at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing third base his first Yankee start, Chase Headley. Ichiro Suzuki's in right field, he'll bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Francisco Cervelli. And Brendan Ryan, who made the tag on the caught stealing, will be at second base and he'll bat ninth.
That lineup for the New York Yankees going to face one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Yu Darvish taking his warm-up pitches. Numbers are impressive: 9-5, 2.88 ERA. We'll look at our pitcher scouting report, which is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. This is Darvish's 80th career start. He has 652 strikeouts in 80 starts. That is the most ever since 1900, which I'm pretty much saying that's the most ever all time. And he does a great job with runners in scoring position. 171 batting average against. The only one better is Tanaka at 153 batting average against. And the good news for the Yankees, last time here he gave up 3 home runs in Yankee Stadium. That was a career high for him. Gardner, Travis Hafner, and Jason Nix took him deep.
I'm glad there is a silver lining.
There's some good news in there, Paul.
We've talked about Darvish like the Yankees ought to not even go up to the plate. I mean, it doesn't matter. Sometimes teams get up a little bit more. You know, it's a bigger challenge when you face some of the best pitchers. I remember coming to the ballpark when Pedro or Clemens, some of those guys. I mean, it's a big challenge to go up there and beat those guys.
Gardner will start it off. And Gardner walked in the 11th inning, stole a base yesterday, started the 13th with a double that eventually scored the Yankees' tying run. So he had a very good game for the Yankees yesterday.
Paul, you talk about facing Darvish. I mean, do you think mentally you take it to another level? Because I think every time you go to the plate, mentally you're locked in. But I think it's the feeling you might only get one pitch to hit, and you better not miss it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Uh-oh, Flash was up quick. He knew the angle of the foul ball there, Michael. You didn't even move. What are you doing?
I'm with 2 outstanding ball players. Why should I have moved?
Just want to make sure I don't push anybody out of the way. I've already made that
heard
mistake
about you. I was ducking.
So I'm very aware of that now.
Push me Michael's way so I can just pummel him when I go over. We'll be rolling in the cameras and everything else.
1-1. No, good job, Audrey. And Meredith didn't even take her head off her hand. Did you see that? Couldn't even be bothered. 2-2. Poor Meredith yesterday. Her whole birthday spent at the ballpark, and the game didn't end until it wasn't even her birthday anymore.
Wow. She did a great job of getting out of the way of that Gatorade bath, by the way. Instincts just take over.
She's got 364 days to make up for it. That's the good news.
The 2-2. Breaking ball, strike 3. Gardner down looking. Now let's check out the defense for the Texas Rangers. Presented by Geico. Chu, Martin, and Rios left to right in the outfield. Infield is Beltre, Andrews, Odor, Adusi, and he pronounces the name Jimenez behind the plate. Darvish is on the mound. Look at this.
You seen it before? Go.
Pro.
Uh-huh.
But I think she learned from the Carlos Beltran incident.
Yeah.
Hits to Jeter. Misses outside.
Watched Darvish pitch in the past, and it's mainly been fastball, slider. And then I go online today to see his pitch breakdown. Cutter 11%, curveball 8%, changeup 5%, split he throws a few. How about that scouting report?
That's a lot to cover, no doubt about it. Sometimes it's better not to know. The pitcher throws a good changeup or something like that. You know, look for that fastball, slider, and if you just happen to adjust to it, good.
All right, here's that list. Most strikeouts first 80 starts. Darvish is on top of the list. He replaced Gooden. Lincecum comes next, and then Nomo. And that includes the strikeout of Brett Gardner. So how much on top of it are we? Here's Jacoby Ellsbury. And there's a strike.
To me, I'm coming from the on-deck circle, and I'm ready to hit that first pitch because that's the best pitch you're going to see right there. I mean, that's 93, outer half of the plate. But now you get to his nasty stuff. The ball's in off the plate,
The curveball, the slider, the changeup, all the things you talked about, Flash.
I mean, all those strikeouts, it really has to be the slider that's a devastating pitch, because you watch his fastball, what, 92, 93, doesn't look like it has a whole lot of movement. He pitches out of the stretch. It tells you over the course of the year he's probably dotting his fastball on the corners, picking up the strikeouts with the slider.
1-2. He certainly has a full array of pitches. Started off the season 7-2, 2.11 through his first 12 starts. But in the 6 since, he's 2-3 with a 4.66. Swing and a miss. An impressive first inning for Hugh Darvish as the Yankees go down in order 1-2-3, and Darvish strikes out 2. We go to the second. No score. Hybrid vehicle of the Yankees, and here's what we started the conversation with. Do you agree with Yu Darvish and think a 6-man rotation would help keep Major League Baseball starters healthy? Here's how you answered. Mike 928 or 92383. I agree. Pitchers will get more rest. We may no longer even need pitch counts or innings limits. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going. I spoke to Brian Cashman about it today, and he said you can't disagree with him. He said the more rest, the more you allow the arm to heal before you pitch again. And I said, well, you think it's ever going to happen? He goes, well, look at the trouble I've had trying to piece together a staff. He said, I don't know if you can get 6 pitchers like that. It would be very, very difficult.
I thought it was interesting. Darvish was talking about the baseballs in Japan, that they were not as slick, so you didn't have to grip them as tightly, and there was less stress on your elbow.
That one is chopped to third. And Headley guns down Beltre. You know, another thing that Darvish said, which I found interesting, was there is too much work on the lower body here in the States, where you're building up your body so that you throw harder, but you're not building up the ligament in your elbow. So the body is allowing you to create more torque, which your arm can't take. He said they do not do that in Japan.
Well, it's incredible how much more information there is about strength, fitness, core work, you know, all these things that you can do if you're an athlete to get the maximum out of your ability. I came up in '92, was, you know, hamburger and a couple of beers after the game. Let's go.
Yeah, there was a little gym in the back if you wanted to.
If you wanted to, yeah. Totally different game.
That one is chopped in front of the plate. Cervelli makes the play. Good play by Cervelli to retire Ducey.
Well, you like this about Cervelli. He comes around the ball, gets a good angle to first base, and keeps that arm angle low. So you fight against getting underneath the ball, and it sails high if you stand up. You stay low, keep the arm angle down, and then finish towards first base. Good play.
Phelps going with that breaking ball, as Darvish did in the first inning. Early in the count, you don't need the best breaking ball to get strike one. A lot of hitters go up there looking hard stuff, and they'll give you strike one. You get to, you know, a strikeout pitch for it, you have to throw a better curveball. Remember Doug Drabek for the Pittsburgh Pirates? I mean, he just had a little get me over strike one curveball, and he got so many called strikes on it. And you just have to mix it up enough. But then he had the good one to go with it once you got to strike two.
There's a strike to Aaron Sebia. Count 2-1.
Well, Drabek had a good enough fastball. You had to respect it, sure, right? So you're not looking first pitch curveball.
One count on Aaron Sebia, who hit the home run that he thought obviously was going to win the game, leading off the 13th inning. But the Yankees came back with a run in the bottom of the inning, and then they scored a run in the bottom of the 14th to win. 3-2.
Well, Phelps challenging there with a 3-1 fastball, got away with it. Aaron Sebia, you talked about it. I mean, there's no power shortage there, Flash. He was a home run hitter in Toronto. See that shoulder opening up. There was one thought there. Drive this thing out in left field.
High fly ball, center field. Ellsbury's there. And a 1-2-3 inning for Phelps and the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the second here at the stadium. Nothing on yes. Your local Acura dealer. One more game against Texas. That's a 105 start tomorrow. Mark that down. And then 3 games against the Blue Jays. 7:05 on My 9 on Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday on Yes at 105. Then 3 games in Texas against these Rangers. 1 on Yes. Then another one on Fox Sports 1. Then back on Yes. The trade deadline's the 31st. That's a travel day. And then the Yankees play 3 against the Red Sox. We go to the bottom of the second. Yankees went down in order against Darvish in the first inning. And now it'll be Carlos Beltran's turn. Now, how about this stat? Darvish's slider has 9.3 inches of horizontal break. That's by far the most in the majors. And that one is a hot shot to a deucey. 1 pitch, 1 out. Beltran down. That's 50% more movement than the second place slider, which belongs to the Reds' Mike Leake at 6.2 inches. That one didn't break. On Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer.
Oh, hit hard. You don't see that in Yes Mo and in slow motion. That ball's hit right on the nose. You see Beltran nose. I agree with that. Coming out of the on-deck circle, ready to hit that first good strike. The horizontal break. That's it. The stats you can go by now. It's amazing.
Get all specific on how much it breaks instead of, you know what, he has a big slider or he has a short slider. Now, so much information.
You think there's too much information where a batter could overload thinking about something coming up to the plate?
Not if you take it all in. I mean, basically, there's a couple things you want to know as a hitter. Sinker or slider, velocity, and does he throw another off-speed pitch? That's it. And then you read the baseball and see what you can do with it.
Driven the other way, and it's in the seats foul.
In this day and age, everybody seems to have the cutter too. So you want to know if he cuts his fastball or if it's just a bait, a four-seamer or a sinker. What kind of pitcher is this guy?
You can get information now on like a count like this for Brian McCann. Obviously 0-2. I mean, he's in the hole and he's defensive. But you can get stats on a 2-1 count. Darvish will throw this pitch, 50% of the time, and it's way too much, like Paul's talking about. To see the ball, know what he has, and try to react.
I've read some accounts where people say some of the best hitters just aren't that bright. Like there's not a lot of stuff going through their head. They're just going up there and seeing the baseball and hitting it.
Oh, you said that. It reminds me of a story I heard from the Cleveland Indians when Charlie Manuel was the hitting coach, and he was going over pretty much what you just said, Michael. And he said sometimes and he has a real Southern accent. Sometimes you just have to be dumb to be a good hitter. He said, Tommy, that's why you're such a good hitter. You have to be able to forget really quick about your past at bats is what he was getting at.
Here comes Chase Headley, and why don't we look at him with the Jeep Hitter Scouting Report.
Well, fireworks. He did have some fireworks last night, but I was talking July 4th fireworks. He's hitting .333 since then, and I think, Brian Cashman touched on that. They might have grabbed a hot hitter. Frozen rope. I mean, he's a line drive hitter. 26.8% of his hits are line drives, which is pretty high in the major leagues. Walk-off debut. Last Yankee with a walk-off RBI in his first game with the team was Roy Weatherly back in 1943. And you know who he filled in for, Michael?
Who's that?
Joe DiMaggio on opening day in New York's first game without DiMaggio.
And Headley rips one into right center field. That's going to be a base hit. It gets past Rios, and it goes to the wall. And Chase Headley has a 2-out double.
Well, again, I mean, you come over to a new organization, and it's just not any organization. The New York Yankees, you go through what you went through last night, a game winner. See a solid swing there through the ball, drives it out to right center field. Rios, a good outfielder, just can't get to it.
We talked about it last night. Look at how early he got his front foot down. We talked about some of the takes that he had last night. Looked real solid and soft in the batter's box. That right there, he's from San Diego with the Padres. That was a Tony Gwynn. Get that front foot down early and react.
Ooh. A little cross up with the catcher there. When you see catchers kind of wave like that, I mean, it's not that he threw an extra good breaking ball. Since you're just kind of crossed up. Whoa.
Now my question is why he's not going out to the mound and having a conversation about it.
You ever get crossed up, John, and not go to the mound because you figured, you know what, I made the mistake?
I probably made the mistake. Yeah.
That's when a catcher would go out. Right?
I would look out at a pitcher and kind of tap my chest protector, say, that's my bad.
Yeah, that's my fault.
We're all right.
Almost took one in the mask, but we're good.
There's a strike. Count 2-1. Ichiro on this homestand 1 for 16. His average is dipped to 280.
When you look back at that Red series, Michael, this is how they scored a lot of their runs. They swept the Reds because they got some 2-out hits with men in scoring position. Ellsbury had one big home run in that series, but it was just a couple singles here and there that drove in runs. So Ichiro just kind of in between everything. You know, he's kind of flying open and a little ahead of the breaking ball and kind of freezing on the fastball. And as a hitter, you get caught in between where you're just not comfortable hitting anything.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at second, bottom of the second. Darvish deals. Ichiro waves through it. 97-mile-an-hour fastball for the final out of the inning. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. Let's go to the third. Nothing on yes. Yes Network, your best fan photo using hashtag YesFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during the game. Brought to you by AT&T. Moments ago, they got together. Who made the mistake? Or who's the guilty party there, John?
Well, it sounds like they were talking about in the bullpen what they were going to do, and there's a little confusion right there. But you know who's the man in that relationship?
Yeah.
It's not the catcher. It's the starting pitcher.
And when you're that good, what you say, you better just go along with it.
That's right.
Here's Leonis Martin. Martin 2 for 6 last night. Audi A3 scoreboard, each team with a hit, neither team with a run.
We're going to start this again.
That one is lined into right center field. It's a base hit, cut off in the gap by Ellsbury. Martin picks up a leadoff single.
We've seen in this series, Martin, he's got those wheels, good speed. I just see down the road this guy being a good player. Does a good job defensively in center field. He swings the bat good enough with that kind of speed.
Here is Chris Jimenez. Chasing Martin back. Phelps likes pitching at Yankee Stadium. His last 7 starts in the Bronx, 5-1, 2.59. Last Friday against the Reds, 6 1/3 innings, 4-3 Yankee win. He gave up 3 runs, 2 earned. He struck out 7 in that game. And he has really stepped up. A lot of the people that the Yankees have almost had to use a spackle to fill a hole in the rotation, they have done the job and done it well. So a lot of the struggles really can't be foisted on the starters. It's more or less the offense. You know, when I was talking to Brian Cashman today, I said if the baseball gods came down to you and said, okay, you can make one trade, it's either a starting pitcher or a hitter, what would it be? And he said, well, if it had to be just one, I'd have to say I have to go after a hitter.
That's if the pitching continues to do it. I mean, there's so many things that go along with their decisions.
Phelps has a very good right-handed move.
See that little racing strip you have cut in there. Danny Cunningham, the grounds crew. You know, the infielders want the infield wet to keep the ground balls down. The base stealers want it dry so they can get off as a good break. A few things you have to do to a major league field before the game starts.
If you look at the area right in front of home plate, it is darker than any other of the ground, the dirt in the infield. That'll slow some ground balls down.
Very close at first.
Nothing better than, as a hitter, when you're hitting, to chop that ball in the front of the plate. A little closer than it looked. Get that high chopper, and you get them in spring training.
Right.
There's
the hard fields.
You end up hitting 400, and you figure out, well, half of those were choppers, were all outs once I get to the season.
Runner goes. Pitch fouled away.
Like a hit and run. Ron Washington trying to get something going here. Ball up out of the zone. Dennis did what he could to put the bat on it, but not much he could do with it.
Sure, Ron Washington looking out on the mound. Phelps probably a perfect guy to try to hit and run against because he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He should be able to at least foul it off, put it in play. We talked about it for 2 games. Ron Washington, manager of the Rangers, has nothing to lose here in this series. You can be aggressive.
Gets away from McCann and retrieves. Ooh. Might have had him.
That hit him in the head?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Ruben Tejada today of the Mets got hit in the head by Tajon Walker. Very scary, right on the NY logo on the helmet. Went down and had to leave the game. Runner goes, good jump, and a hit and run was on. He hit it through the vacated hole. And the Rangers have runners on first and third and nobody out.
You can tell that hole at bat. Jimenez was trying to hit that hole over on the right side. And again, even with 2 strikes, that front shoulder stay closed and just guide that ball over there. 14 on the run, and boy, you look how big that hole gets when your the second baseman is covering. Phelps in his first big jam here. Now all of a sudden you want to keep things to a minimum. You've got another guy on the hill on the other side that's an all-star. You give up a run here, okay, but don't give up 2 or 3.
Here's Odor.
This is really the difference between a veteran pitcher and a rookie pitcher, and obviously Phelps has had some big league time. He's not a rookie anymore. To your point, Paul, you try to save that run at first. You give up a ground ball or a sac fly. You figure one run might not beat you.
This should be 2. There's 1. And there's 2, but a run scores, and it's 1-0 Texas.
You take it every time right there.
Yeah, I think, as a manager, as a pitching coach, as a starting pitcher, you'll take 2 outs, right, in this situation and let that run score any day of the week. Flip there. Flash from your old football days when you were quarterback, a little junior league, right? A little flip option.
Pitch the Chew. One and one to Chew. Yankees shifting for Chew. Jeter on the second base side of the bag. Now this is a change. When the Yankees have been shifting all year, Jeter stayed on the left side and the third baseman ran over and played on the right side. But with Headley here, this is the second time Jeter's done this. Two and two.
On your game tonight. Well, the truck's doing cartwheels down there. Just noticing your observations up here.
Shaking right down the loading dock. It's great. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch. Strike 3. Chew down looking. But the Rangers score a run on 2 hits and nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 1-0 Texas. Of the New York Yankees by your local Acura dealer and by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. We go to the bottom of the third. Darvish has a 1-0 lead, and he'll face 8, 9, and 1 in the Yankee order. Cervelli, Ryan, and Gardner. Audi A3 scoreboard, 1-3-0 for Texas, 0-1-0 for the Yankees. Francisco, a modest 4-game hitting streak. He's thrilled, obviously. He's getting a chance to play a couple of games in a row. This is his 3rd straight game. Let me check. Could be 3rd out of 4th. No, it's his 3rd straight game. And he gets himself an extra base hit. And that'll give him a 5-game hitting streak. So a double for Cervelli. John, that's going to be heaven for a backup catcher to play that many games in a row.
Well, you finally feel like you can get some timing at the plate. You mentioned the hitting streak. He hit the ball hard last night a few times. Paul taking your advice, not waiting around. First pitch fastball against Darvish. Beltray takes the glove off. Having a little fun at third base. Yankees have something going here in the 3rd.
Now here's a guy, Brendan Ryan. You wonder how he's keeping his batting stroke. He has not played in the last 8 games. So he gets to start at second base in place of Brian Roberts.
You know what, being an extra guy, I hate to say that this situation is easier, but he doesn't have to get a base hit. He can hit a ball the other way, just advance the runner. There you go.
Does his job. As Cervelli moves to 3rd.
Well, he'll get some love in that Yankee dugout. They all know he hasn't played in a long time. A productive at bat. Doesn't have to be a base hit and RBI. Nice contribution.
That's a big at bat. I mean, to be down 1 run in as much trouble as you had scoring runs last night. I mean, this is an opportunity to just tie this game up and know that you can score runs off Darvish. I mean, this is, to me, is a big at bat for Brett Gardner.
Gardner struck out looking in the 1st.
Sorry, Michael. I hate to interrupt you.
That was my fault. Texas bringing the infield in with a runner on 3rd and 1 out.
Well, Brett Gardner is going to see that first pitch fastball that everybody else has because of the situation now. Darvish might change it up a little bit, go off speed. No.
Ball just out of the zone. You see, he kept that ball down, trying to get that ground ball. As a hitter, you're looking for the ball up, something you can at least get to the outfield.
He thrives in these situations. 63% he gets the run in.
Balk.
And there's a balk. The game is tied at 1. As Cervelli jogs down and will touch up on home plate.
As good as Darvish is, he's probably really upset here, thinking, you know, I can get out of this still. I can get a strikeout. Trying to figure out the balk.
Well, we saw the conversation between Jimenez in the dugout and Darvish, and just kind of not on the same page there with the fastball. Then he went to a changeup with the signs and a little flinch, and the Yankees catch a break.
Anyway, he does have that good curveball. Michael, you went to the science side of it with the break and this and that, but it does have that you know, that comma to it, and it's just not a slider that kind of buckles you as a hitter. It's just a different kind of breaking ball. At-bats you reprogram, huh, Flash? You get up there, man on 3rd, you're all about getting him in, getting a fly ball, all of a sudden he scores, and now you step out and it's like, right, now get a hit.
I'm a leadoff hitter again. Yeah.
Now I have to ask our stat man extraordinaire, James. All right, so you gave me a stat that Gardner gets the runner in a certain amount of time. Well, we saw that on the screen. Did he get the runner in there? Does that go to him at all? Well, he didn't fail. The runner came in on the ball while he was up.
It doesn't count either way, right?
I guess not, but is that fair? He came up with a runner on third, less than 2 outs.
They were scared of him, so they threw it to the screen, you're saying.
No. He flinched. High fly ball right field. Rio's back on the track at the wall. See ya! A home run, Brett Gardner. Yankees lead 2-1. Career-high home run number 10.
I'll tell you, Brett Gardner, you talked about it last night, Michael. He's been struggling a little bit. He got a fastball up, and he turned on it. Warm night in Yankee Stadium. Ball will carry. That ball's up in his eyes. The barrel on it. Rios gets back, but nah, not tonight.
Well, you remember the good news I mentioned in the scouting report? 3 home runs, a career high the last time Darvish pitched here, and Brett Gardner, one of those guys who had a home run that night.
Breaking ball there. I'm starting to agree with you, Flashy. You see another replay. Good sound on that ball. That Darvish and Jimenez just,
they don't seem right?
Not at all. I mean, he's whiffed a couple fastballs to the screen. Caught a curveball like he didn't know it was coming.
And there is a rhythm and a pace when a catcher puts his signs down and a pitcher shakes off and goes right to something else. You just tell Darvish and his catcher not on the same page. The balk.
Now, John, why do you think that Darvish is pitching from the stretch?
He's always done it. I don't know if it's a simple mechanical thing where his stuff doesn't fall off. But you look at his delivery, very simple. Pick the leg up right down the hill. Location is there.
Jeter down looking, pleading his case to Dale Scott.
Well, we'll get a better look at it, but Jeet didn't like it. Thought it was away, obviously.
Pitcher's pitch. That's a Hall of Fame pitch, right? Durwood Merrill would say that?
Yeah.
Old umpire.
I used to tell Durwood, this guy's not in the Hall of Fame, and I'm not either, so quit calling it. But, that last at bat, you got Jeter, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Darvish has the capabilities to be. So who are you rooting for if you're the umpire?
Pitch outside to Ellsbury, 1-0.
You think back to last night's game, the Yankees down after that Aaron Sibia home run. They come right back and answer, and here tonight, 1 run in the third for the Rangers. They come back and answer with 2.
That's the tough pitch right there, where he starts that breaking ball out over the plate and it ends up off the plate in. Such a tendency as a lefty to foul it straight down off your foot. You see that ball just keeps coming in. Oh, that went above the shin guard, right off the shin. To wear those things, and it seemed like every time you fouled a ball off, it would just miss.
Ellsbury got the big hit in the 13th inning yesterday to tie the game, driving home Gardner, an RBI single to right. And he's hitting .462 in extra innings this year. 4 runs scored, 3 ribbies, and the Yankees only 2 home runs in extra frames.
Darvish tries it again. Ellsbury took that one. It's almost imminent. Every time you foul a ball off the knee, it's either the catcher or the pitcher. You tell me, Flash.
It's
wants
both.
To go right back in there.
It's both. Your eyes light up.
Swing and a miss.
I used to face your own pitchers in spring training, and I didn't want to hit off Mariano. I mean, his ball, even if he tried to, he'd just sit out there and smile, and there's nothing you could do with it, especially when your timing's off, is foul it off your shin, your kneecap, everything else.
2-2 pitch. Fly ball, right field. Rios is there, puts it away. But the Yankees take the lead. They scored 2 runs on 2 hits and nobody left on base. The second run on that swing up the bat of Brett Gardner's 10th home run, a 2-1 Yankee lead. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help today. Darvish led the American League last season with 277 strikeouts. Who was the last Yankee to lead the American League in strikeouts?
You know this for sure?
No, I do not know it for sure.
We got a lot of guesses, right?
I'm just wondering if there's, one guy of recent vintage that might have won the strikeout title with like 210 strikeouts. We'll figure it out. We'll all find out together. Bottom of the 4th. David Phelps has a lead now. On the Lincoln scoreboard, Yankees up 2-1. Elvis Andrus will lead off. Strike.
Every once in a while, you just read the Yankees' history, and obviously there's so much, and it just catches your attention because of the name involved. This day in Yankee history, 1957. Mickey Mantle hit for the cycle. Mickey Mantle. Huh?
You ever hit for the cycle?
In the minor leagues I did. In the home run was an inside the Parker. Like that grand slam. Inside the park grand slam was the home run.
Was that the last one you had to get?
Yeah. It was in Glens Falls, New York.
You weren't stopping at third no matter what.
Well, the outfielder, it's in the minor leagues, the outfielder came in and tried to make this diving play, missed it, rolled all the way to the wall. Michael, you could have had inside the Parker on that one and some. Beautiful thing, though.
Grounded to second. Ryan. How about you, John?
No, never. Not even close.
High school? Nothing?
No. You got to be able to run to get a triple, don't you?
You just need a good break out in the outfield, a good angle where the ball kind of ricochets away.
Glens Falls, that was the New York Penn League?
It was the Eastern League.
Eastern League, double A.
Wasn't the question on Seinfeld when you were there, was it really a home run or was it a triple and an error?
Yeah, Kramer wasn't giving me the home run. I think he waved it off as an error, a triple and an error. Yeah, those big checks I get for the Screen Actors Guild. I can always tell when that Seinfeld repeat comes over.
And it's going to go on forever and ever. Those checks will go on forever and ever.
$52 doesn't go very far, does it?
In Cincinnati, you can go farther than New York.
Dinner for $4 plus tip. Are you kidding me?
1-1 to Alex Rios.
The way I hit that golf ball today, I lost that on the first hole. Golly.
So you had a 5-hour game last night. You probably got back to the hotel at 1, and you still got up early to play golf?
I had to. I needed a round of golf, and I played a beautiful course, but the course won today. Believe me, I was horrible. The wheels are falling off. Oh, it was. You couldn't have picked a better day, a better golf course. You know, to put it in perspective, I was like 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts today.
Wow.
That's the kind of day I had on the golf course.
You needed rest. You were exhausted.
All right, I'll go with that.
What was tee time?
9:06.
So you probably had to get up at 7, right?
No, I got up at 8. It was close. Yeah.
Would you walk out the back door?
Yeah, I have to go out the side door so I don't wake up my daughter and Neville. They don't want anything to do with the wake-up calls, believe me.
The 1-2. Line to right field. Ichiro's right there to make the play for the second out.
Well, Rio's had 2 good at-bats so far. Line drive to left for a single, and then a good swing here. A couple days off. Miss a beat.
Yeah, if he's auditioning for the trade deadline, like I said, a couple of good at bats, tried to steal a base, look good running. Ankle looks like it's healthy.
Here's Adrian Beltre. Oh, 1. Headley deep at third, close to the line. 1-1.
You talk about it, and I did notice tonight, he does have the brim of that helmet way down, huh?
Way down.
Back-to-back cutters there from Phelps, just off the outside corner.
I noticed it for the first time watching the All-Star game. I don't know how he sees. He's hit 324. He must be seeing.
Doing something right, huh?
Could take the glare of the lights out of the way, you know, where you kind of eliminate it from your vision. Just lock in on the pitcher and the flight of the ball.
And that is a base hit up the middle. What's this, Paul?
Hey, that's one of my highlights. That's a hole-in-one. It's got to be. Pose there. Come on. It's rolling. It's rolling. Attaboy. See that? You want to hear the bad part about that story? Hole-in-one. How can it be a bad story about it, right?
Right.
That is Saturday, the first day of the tournament. On that hole, Thursday, Friday, hole-in-one, $500,000. $500,000. I got to the green, pulled the hole out, and they said, "You won 5." And we look back, they took the sign down, gone. When does that ever happen?
Wow.
Huh? It's like losing the lottery.
When was that?
That was at Lake Tahoe at in an event, or I'm sorry, at Shadow Creek out in Las Vegas. Unbelievable event. Yeah.
Well, you made $500,000 yesterday in the 14 innings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that must have chapped you. You happy and chapped?
I was. I mean, I was pumped, and then when I thought, you know, whoa, it was worth $500,000. Well, not today.
And then it cost you money. You had to buy drinks at the bar, right?
I got a good signed picture and all that kind of stuff. But no, I would have taken the check. Would have made my weekend.
Well, you have to buy drinks.
It's a tradition, right? Really? You have a hole-in-one. You have to buy drinks at the bar.
That's if you're playing with your buddies. I wasn't playing with my buddies.
Wow. They were talking about you out there.
Competitors. They knew they were on camera. Somebody's cell phone.
Check swing, count 1 and 2.
Thanks, Bill Bowling, for that. I needed hope just to see that swing still there.
1-2. Popped up. Headley makes the play, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. Phelps strong through 4. He leads 2-1. Quit line quiz. Yu Darvish led the American League last season with 277 strikeouts. Who was the last Yankee to lead the AL? I'm going to take a shot in the dark.
I'm going to say Guidry.
All right, that's who I was thinking. Al Downing, I'm going to say. Yeah.
Don't act like nobody told you that. Somebody's speaking in your ear.
Nobody said it in my ear.
You got it.
James didn't tell me. So you guys have no faith that I could come up with that?
With a lot of stuff, but that was no.
None.
In between innings, you're over there poking on your phone. You were probably on like Googling it or something.
Yeah, I was Googling it. Lincoln scoreboard 2-1 Yankees lead. Yeah, I'm not even guessing anymore. That one's popped up. Jimenez looking for it, finds it, but it's into the seats. Now, Guidry did have 248, and that's a Yankee record, but he came in second in 1978 to Nolan Ryan, who had 260.
Yeah. So Guidry never did, because I was going to say Al Downing was before Guidry, right?
Mm-hmm. He was 64.
And Al Downing gave up Hank Aaron's. Was it the tying or
7-15? It was
7-15.
And the sad part is he's always remembered as that. And if you take the time and look up Al Downing's stats, he was a really, really good pitcher.
Sure.
And happens to be a great guy too. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet him.
He's been to some old timers.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Popped up. Beltre makes the play. RBI Baseball is back with all 30 MLB teams and 2014 players. Get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console and mobile device. Here's Brian McCann. The Rangers do not shift for McCann. The only shift they make is that Odor is playing in the outfield grass. But there's usually always somebody up the middle, and that's taking some hits away from him as well. I remember the only other team that doesn't shift drastically against him is the Minnesota Twins. And I asked an advanced scout, I said, why don't the Twins shift against McCann? He goes, because they obviously don't know what they're doing.
That came from the Minnesota Scout?
No, it wasn't Minnesota.
Oh. The advanced scout. I thought it was the Minnesota Scout.
Because what he's saying is that, you know, it's proven if you look at all the charts that he pulls the ball and you should shift. But the Texas Rangers not shifting. And that's not my opinion, because I think Ron Gardner does a great job. They know what they're doing.
Darvish definitely does have a different speed. He's got a hard slider and then a curveball, and he's thrown McCann all the hard sliders and then fastballs in. I have a feeling that slow curveball is going to come. He's going to try to get him out of the way.
Tap the other way and off the glove of Beltre. He probably went too far because Andrews makes that play, I think, in a routine manner.
This doesn't happen very often. Beltre asked him, I mean, what that hit, or do you have it, or whatever. But again, this ball came off. See Andrews behind him, going to be an easy backhand play for him. All the time in the world to throw him out. He can run it.
E5. Here's Chase Headley, doubled his first time up. Chase Headley is the first player with a walk-off hit in his Yankees debut since Roy Weatherly, April 22nd, 1943, against the Washington Senators.
Thinking it's so much easier coming to the ballpark today if you're Headley. You get that first dramatic base hit to win a game, and you show up at the ballpark today. Everybody's happy to see you. Pressure's off. You get a double your first at bat tonight. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Rob Thompson.
What's up? I'm Chase Headley, and I just got a game winner.
Somewhere between Chicago and walking into that dugout, he shaved his goatee off, which he had while he was with the San Diego Padres. Brandon McCarthy's wife was thrilled with the Yankees' facial hair rules, because when he was with the Diamondbacks, he had a full beard. And then he got traded and had to shave it off, and she tweeted out, she goes, "Thank you, I win."
She was all for the trade, huh?
Swing and a miss. The runner goes to second, so it's a strikeout and a wild pitch. Now Meredith has some more information on the Headley situation.
Well, Michael, he was asked after the whirlwind of a night he had yesterday if he even knew where he was or what city he woke up in today. And he said, well, I felt my face and realized I didn't have a beard anymore. So I knew I was a New York Yankee and I was in New York. And his wife also weighed in and said she liked it as well. So maybe she can talk to Brandon McCarthy's wife. Those two can get together because the beards are gone for those two.
Now, Brandon McCarthy's wife is starting to become a must-follow for Yankee fans, because when he pitched at Yankee Stadium, she got caught in traffic on the Deegan, and she tweeted out, "Dear Major League Baseball, postpone the game. I can't get there." That one is driven into right center field. Rios got a great jump and hauled it in to retire Ichiro for the final out. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. We've played 4. Yankees lead the Rangers 2-1. Just amazing, and never a drop-off. Another great season for Miguel Cabrera. So we go to the 5th inning. Yankees lead this one 2-1. They're facing the Texas Rangers and Hugh Darvish. Rangers will send up Arancibia, Martin, and Jimenez.
Phelps so good. So I mean, so far so good. Obviously, he's got a 2-1 lead here, but I mean, tough to pitch in these games. You can't make a mistake. Yankee Stadium, obviously, you make a mistake, you can end up in the seats. But again, another good start so far for David Phelps.
You know, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the kid competes every time out there, but he seems to me to be the type of player and personality that he looks forward to some of these challenges. You know, going against one of the best in the game, be able to hang with him through 5 innings so far, through 4 innings so far. Look at that cutter right there that he threw off the plate. That's really been a big weapon for Phelps all year. To right-handed batters, he'll throw it away, he'll throw it at their front hip and cut it to the inside corner.
1-2.
The last 3 or 4 starts I've seen, you know, when he's not on, it seems like he nibbles. But, you know, he has that kind of control to pinpoint in and out, up and down. But when he's just missing, you think, oh, he's nibbling. No, he's just missing a little bit. I mean, he has to pitch. He does a good job of it.
14 innings that both of these clubs played last night. All the relief pitchers were used. Pitch count so important. Great shape, 57. Nobody out here in the 5th.
And the pitch.
Well, I think a lot of times pitchers like Phelps they use a lot of pitches to set up other pitchers, and those setup pitches sometimes they start adding up too. That when you're crowding a guy to get him off the plate, or you're showing a ball away just so you can make a pitch, as he did there. Came in and then he went to a slider. Michael, let's go to Bob Lorenz. I feel him wanting to say something right now.
Wow. You're impressive, Paul.
You like that one?
Yeah. Bad golf, but good broadcasting. Count 1-0 to Martin, who singled and scored the Rangers' run. Grounded past a diving McCann and down the right field line. Cutting over is Ichiro. He's going to play the ball in the corner, and Martin's going to go for 3. Ryan's throw to third, not in time.
We talked about it, Martin. I mean, if you don't come up with it quickly, Ichiro had trouble getting out of the corner. Ends up being a triple. Ball hammered down the line. Just McCann can't get there quick enough. See, that ball's already by him. Just that little bobble. Martin, I mean, right now he's just going to turn it on and he'll make up his mind. He doesn't use his third base coach.
Well, this isn't fair to McCann, but every time a ball like that goes by a first baseman, you start thinking, would Mark Teixeira have had that? Obviously a Gold Glover. McCann has done a good job. Just a little bit late with the reaction. It's understandable, a catcher by trade. Just out of his reach.
The Yankees have the infield in. And a strike to Jimenez.
Joe Girardi realizes the importance of runs. If you Darvish on the mound, any way that you can try to save it. Give Phelps an opportunity to make a good pitch and keep that ball in the infield.
Well, this is where it's fun if you're Cervelli behind the plate and you got a guy like Phelps, Paul, and you talk about all the pitches he throws, setting up different pitches. A chance here to pick up a strikeout or an easy ground ball. Keep that runner at third. Cervelli, you're catching. You got a pitcher who's executing. He's got his good stuff. He has his location. You find a way to pick up a strikeout here.
I mean, I know the wheels are turning as a catcher, and you talk about sometimes as a hitter or pitcher you overthink. I'm sure that comes into catching too. You just overthink what you want to do, and you got too many options sometimes.
The worst thing for a catcher is in your mind you're thinking, okay, the slider is the right pitch. But I have a pitcher who's thrown it maybe 50% of the time tonight. It's good one pitch, it's bad the next. And then you start overthinking. But Phelps can't really think of too many mistakes he's made tonight.
I always thought the easiest way to keep the ball in the infield is obviously the strikeout, but to also jam a hitter. He's going for the strikeout, back-to-back sliders off the plate.
This is the one you'll think about if you're Cervelli. A pitcher executed perfectly off the plate. Jimenez held up, did a good job of not offering. And I like this here. You go out and talk about it, make sure you both are on the same page.
Also, it gives that hitter just a little more time to waste to try to figure out what they're talking about. I mean, you almost look at, I wonder what they're talking about. They can stay with that, they coming in, and it takes you out of the rhythm of the at-bat that you're in. I hated when pitching coaches went out there, when catchers went out there. It just gives you too much time to think.
2-2. Popped up. Francisco Cervelli makes the play. Martin stays at third.
Yeah, that's the pitch I think is so successful when you're trying to keep the ball in the infield, get ahead, show away, and then just tie somebody up. Just can't get the bat head in, get it out there, and you just as a hitter, you want to stay on everything to drive it, and you just jam yourself. Good job of pitching by Phelps and Cervelli. You go back to just trying to make good pitches to get an out. You know, 2 outs, you've got an opportunity to save that run.
Pitch inside to Odor. Count 2-0.
Cervelli getting a couple of games in a row behind the plate, looking fresh. A great job of blocking here. You anticipate down and in is the mistake. Those are the ones that don't show up in a box score tomorrow, but Cervelli goes in that clubhouse if this run is saved at third base, knowing he did a good job.
The 2-0. 2-1.
He stuck with that breaking ball. I wasn't going to give in and just give him a fastball. Obviously, first base open. Not that you're going to pitch around a guy, but you're just not going to give in and give a hitter exactly what they're looking for. Phelps got good enough control that you can throw that breaking ball. Now you can try to jam him with that fastball.
One of the first bad pitches Phelps has thrown right there. Missed badly with location. If he had a nice little change up, a little sinker down and away. Odor, a young hitter and a hitter's count, trying maybe to do a little too much. Uses aggressiveness against him.
I thought he'd go back to the curve, and now you can either go back to that fastball that you missed with and try to jam him, or stick with another curveball.
So one thing about young hitters, when they get a chance to do something special, they gear up and try and swing a little too hard, look for a fastball. He didn't get it.
The 3-2. He struck him out. He's pumped up. Cervelli is pumped up. And it's an official game with thunderstorms in the forecast. A high fastball. Rangers strand a runner at third. Yankees lead 2-1. Stadium this Sunday, July 27th, to the Yankees' last game of the homestand and to receive one of the hottest collectibles of all time. It's Paul O'Neill Bobblehead Day, the third in the 2014 Collectibles Series presented by AT&T. For the first 18,000 guests in attendance. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. This was moments ago, and that's not a good sign. People on Twitter telling me that it's raining very hard in Bergen County. Usually that's the way the weather comes, so let's hope that it misses us. 2-1 Yankees lead, and Cervelli leads off against Darvish.
Well, it's never good when Danny Cunningham, the head groundskeeper, comes out in between innings to talk to the home plate umpire, Dale Scott.
Yeah.
Usually not a good sign.
Danny was the master of finding that window. We always talked about the window that we were going to have to play. One of his other ground crew one day said, "You got more window than Bill Gates."
Yu Darvish has allowed 3 hits to the Yankees. A double to Cervelli, who came around to score on a balk, and then Brett Gardner's home run. Both of those in the 3rd inning. Foul back, 2-1. Cervelli, Ryan, and Gardner in the 5th against Darvish. Putting the tarp on the bullpen, also not a good sign. And they're also weighting down the tarp.
When they weight down the tarps, does that mean we got some high winds coming in? There's Danny Cunningham, the window finder.
Line drive down the left field line. It is a base hit. It'll go into the corner and up against the wall. As Cervelli with a leadoff double here in the 5th.
Well, all of a sudden, Cervelli's putting together a couple game series here. He's done a great job, both catching and swinging the bat.
Time for the Coors Banquet Timeless Moment. What does that bring us today? We'll go back to 1925. Lou Gehrig, the first of his 23 career Grand Slams, as the Yankees defeat the Washington Senators 11-7.
Cervelli, a nice little boost to a lineup that's been struggling to score some runs. Same situation we had here in the bottom of the 3rd. Leadoff double. Brendan Ryan coming up.
At this rate, Brendan Ryan could be over 4 and have a good
night.
Yeah, moving the guy over. This is, you know, you talk about just a guy that unbelievable fielder. If you watch him day in and day out, but you know, gets an opportunity to play tonight, has no problem with giving a bat away to move a runner over.
So one thing I always appreciated playing here, the regular guys always understood the role of the backup and how hard it is to sit on the bench and have productive at bats.
Shows bunt, takes outside 2-0.
And it means so much to a backup player if you can contribute just a little bit offensively.
I mean, you talk about the shift and what it does. I mean, look. I mean, Beltre's in here. I mean, a hard bunt to the shortstop is almost a base hit at this point. And some of the things, it's, you know, you talk about guys are going to adjust to it, and I think it can happen. There's going to be some trick plays as hitters. Hey, that was real, folks. That wasn't generated by any computer or anything. Fans are heading to the exit, Michael. That's a good sign?
For them.
room there. I mean, you get the ball by Beltre, it's a base hit.
That lightning over the outfield really is causing people to retreat and get some cover. It's not raining right now at the stadium, though. The 2-2. Foul back.
See Darvish, I mean, a lot of breaking balls, a lot of sliders, but when he wants to throw a fastball, he's been anywhere from 92 to 97. There's a couple different fastballs when he wants to really try to get a strikeout.
Hit sharply to Beltre. Nice play. 1 out. And now it's starting to rain. Danny Cunningham was right. And he said, should I put it on? And Dale Scott, the crew chief, said, yep, you better. And boy, do they hustle. They've got this down to a science. And it is coming down hard. This is an official game. Home team has the lead after 4.5. And that's across the street where there is no tarp. So they're going to get this baby on in a hurry to save the field. So with lightning and thunder and heavy rain, we're going to have a stoppage here at the stadium. Wow, that just started in an eye blink. It just wasn't gradual. All right, as the grounds crew does its job, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We still have a lot to do, so you stay right where you are. We are going to do our best to entertain you, keep you engaged. Yankees lead 2-1. Stay right here on Yes. An awful time getting the tarp on. The infield is just a mess. They have not been able to get the tarp on because of the high winds. And this does not look good because that infield right now is unplayable. Obviously, you get it covered, and you're going to take a lot of work to get it playable. But there's rain in the forecast for a lot of this night, and the tarp's still not on the field. Now, the Yankees, the last game before the All-Star break, lost a game in Baltimore that only went 4.5 innings. Where the Orioles had a lead, and the Yankees never got a chance. And at that time, Joe Girardi said, I really think that you should be able to play the game after, but that's not the rules. They would not play this game. It would be over if, in fact, it gets canceled. And the tarp, amazingly enough, is still not on the infield.
They got no chance at this point. I mean, there's so much water
This is what they tried.
What happens is you get so much water on this tarp, it becomes too heavy, and the rain started so quick.
It could not go any further after that. And at this point, as we speak, the wind is whipping the tarp up. It still is not on the infield, and the infield is going to look like a river in a moment. Wow. And this was before we went to commercial. If we go back to live, you'll see it's a mess. And this grounds crew has done this a million times, and they just can't get the tarp on right now. And you see the wind being a factor, and those are the flagpoles that rim the grandstand at the stadium, and they are really, really bending, and that's across the street where you can't even see the field. So it is a mess here at Yankee Stadium, a monsoon. And the only thing that makes the Yankees feel any better is that it's an official game and they're leading 2-1. But if they weren't leading, they would not be too thrilled right now. So as the grounds crew tries to straighten it out and we just sit here and watch this rain come down, we'll go to the studio where Bob Lorenz and Ken Singleton will take it from here.
But obviously, until you get down there, you don't want anybody slipping and sliding all over the place, risk and injury. What looks like a good playing surface up here from the booth might not be so great down there. It might be a little soft.
I tell you, interesting enough, I was just running in to get a drink so we could start this game back up, and I heard some of the Texas announcers talking. I said, you know, Darvish, I can't believe you're bringing him back. Said, yeah, he came back after a 2-hour delay one time.
Yeah, we just said an hour and 56 minutes in 2012.
He must have the call here and say, you know, that I'm going back out.
Well, Darvish is on the mound right now, as you can see, and there is somebody up in the Yankee bullpen. I don't think they're going to bring back out David Phelps. So now the umpires are talking with the crew chief, Danny Cunningham. And he is the grounds crew chief. And Sean Kelly is the one up for the Yankees in their bullpen. He pitched yesterday just 1 inning. Now let's take a look at the game summary, show you how we get the 2-1 Yankees in the bottom of the 5th, and it's brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 2-4-0 for the Yankees against Darvish. 1-5-1 for Texas against David Phelps. Gardner, a solo home run. That's the difference in the game. That broke a 1-1 tie. David Phelps won 5 innings, 1 run, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 3. And Yu Darvish, 4 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. And the game started, the rain started, and the game was delayed at 8:46, and we're aiming to start this game at 10:05. So that is a lengthy rain delay. And I'm not saying that you treat some pitchers differently than others, but this is a star. This is, you know, the anchor of your staff and should be for the next 4 or 5 years. And he is going to come out in a game that means nothing to the Texas Rangers and continue to pitch after an hour and, what would you say, 20-minute rain delay? Hour and 30-minute rain delay. And he looks like he wants to go, and I'm sure that if he had told Ron Washington, I don't want to pitch, then he wouldn't have pitched. But I would just wish to be a fly on the wall at that conference around first base. So it's Ron Washington, Joe Girardi, Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, Danny Cunningham, and all 4 umpires.
Well, it's got to be some sort of conversation. How long, Danny Cunningham, will it take for this field to get a little bit better with all the materials they put on the ground to get it in this good of shape? Is it game playable? The managers have to decide that. Or do we have to wait a little longer? And they're going to wait longer.
You can see Mike Maddox is saying, okay, go back in the dugout. And we'll see exactly what's going on here. Now, if you're the Rangers and now another stoppage, would you send Darvish out there again?
Well, to answer your question, all 3 of us, I don't think would have sent him out the first time. So, you know, who knows at this point. Hey,
now, Dale Scott.
Would you give us the rundown up here?
I think he's going to be calling Major League Baseball right now.
I think he's challenging. He's going to challenge the playing surface.
Hey, the Yankees are sitting pretty right here. If this game is called, they win. It's an official game for them. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4.5 in the books, and they have a lead. And they suffered through a game like this, the game before the All-Star break in Baltimore, a 2-hour rain delay. They lost 3-1 after 4.5 innings of playing. At that time, Joe Girardi said, I don't agree with that rule. You should be allowed to come back and play it at some point. We do come back here again. Texas is here tomorrow, but that's not the rule. The rule is this game would, in fact, be rained out if they decide to bang it right here, and the Yankees would get the win.
Wow.
That's some in-depth pitching talk right there.
Visualization of where you want to put that ball, how do you want to move it.
Now you would think, okay, they took them off the field, so they're going to allow the grounds crew to work further on the field, but they're not. They're not doing anything more.
You know, it could be the fact that you don't want to speculate. Danny Cunningham, the groundskeeper, said, listen, we've done everything we can do with what we have. It might just be a matter of time now. Well, you got to let it dry out.
Hey, we got all the time in the world, Flash, right?
Nowhere to be.
No.
Time's your tea time tomorrow. Oh, day game.
Day game tomorrow. We just got to make sure that we're here for that.
Now there's Doug Bahar of Stadium Operations, and he's got a big bandage over his right eye. I hope that's not a result of everybody trying to pull the tarp. It looks like it's a fresh bandage as well.
I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people, and you mentioned Rob Gomez out there, had security.
Oh, that was awesome.
There are a lot of people who jumped in there trying to help out the grounds crew with the weight, all the water on top of the tarp.
Well, the umpires disappeared. And I would think that they are talking with somebody who's a higher up in Major League Baseball. You know, what should we do? We don't think the field is in the proper shape. And I'm just wondering, that's what because they spent so much time looking at it. It's got to be about the playability of that infield. And because the rain came down so hard and they could not move the tarp, it was so heavy, the infield, and you never see this, was absolutely covered with water. And to get it to look like it looks right now, the grounds crew did yeoman work. But
amazing job.
Again, we don't know what it's like underfoot.
Now go back a minute. It was covered with what?
Water.
Water. That's when I knew my kids were going to elementary school in New York, when the field was covered with water.
Well, how do you cover it?
It's water.
It's water.
It's wet both ways.
It was rain. It's covered with rain.
You probably drink soda also, right?
I drink water now.
Well, there you go. All right, we're going to get a ruling here soon, I'm sure. I think we've even pulled the police in. Look, he's part of the meeting now. Brett Gardner, what's your opinion?
Probably on the phone to Papa John's.
Calling Chelsea to bring a pizza down.
You wonder what the delay's about. So the grounds crew heading back out, and that's where they keep the drying agent. That's where it's stored, and you wonder, are they going to bring more stuff out on the field? And they also have to get this infield. If it's not ready now, they got to get the infield ready for a 1:05 start tomorrow. So they've got plenty of that, Paul. They've got plenty of that stuff out there. Derek's seen a lot of baseball. 20 years of this, he's seen it all, but I haven't seen this very often.
He's probably trying to figure this one out himself.
Well, we will recap the scoring in the third inning. Leonis Martin with a single to right center, hit and run with Jimenez, move Martin to third. So first and third, nobody out, and then Odor wrapped into a 4-6-3 double play to give the Rangers a 1-0 lead. In the bottom of the third inning, Francisco Cervelli, a ground ball over third and down the left field line. Brendan Ryan with a ground ball to second moves Cervelli to third. Then Cervelli scored on a balk by Darvish. And then Brett Gardner hit a ball into the right field seats, and that's where we stand, 2-1 Yankees.
I think Darvish thinks that you lost the DH. He's working on his hack in here between innings.
Well, they're all in a very good mood.
Yeah, well, that's what a couple hours in the locker room will do for you.
Anything interesting gets done there during a long rain delay? Do you do a lot of eating?
A little bonding time.
Yeah?
The guys not playing the guys that are playing are sitting on edge because you don't know whether, they usually give you 15 minutes or so to, hey, let's go. It's 10:05 and it was 9:50, so. And here comes the kitty litter truck.
Well, he does not have any of that drying agent on the Toro Workman. Now, we just wish that we could tell you more, but we are just as much in the dark as you are, but we're hanging around and waiting to see what's going on. Now, the Yankees have shut down Kelly in their bullpen. He's not throwing. Darvish now has this long layover.
I was going to give him a little smile.
He's a great guy. He's been here
that's
forever.
Hilarious.
And there's no drying agent there.
We got a shovel.
You know, the drying agent supposedly soaks up 4% of the water, just like a regular agent.
Wow. Been holding that one back, haven't you? It's another one you kept in your holster.
So we know that these little trucks work beautifully, but have no idea exactly what they're doing right now.
I would be surprised if, like, Yogi and Whitey come up here soon waving from the back of one of those cars. Going around the track.
Now, the Yankees have the lead, as we mentioned, so there's no stress or pressure on them because of the fact if the game is called, they win the game. The Rangers are 20 games under 500, so there's no stress or pressure on them. But you wonder, can they jerry-rig a rule and go, listen, because of the extreme circumstances, we'll just pick this game up tomorrow? I don't think you can do that. That's not the rule. I just don't understand what would be taking so much time.
I don't know. The field's unplayable. Do you have to wait a certain time after the rain,
right.
or do you have to wait a certain amount of time now to see if it'll dry out anymore?
Well, there is no certain amount of time that you have to wait. That used to be a rule. That's not a rule anymore. If it's unplayable, or if there's so much rain in the forecast they know it's not going to stop, they could bang it fairly early. But right now, it's over an hour and a half rain delay. And the Rangers are having a blast.
They take their team picture down there. Everybody's in a good mood.
Joe wants a win. And now it's starting to rain again. And, yeah, it starts to rain again. It kind of seals the deal, you would think.
Looking up, this is what starts bothering you when you're on Eastern Coast time and the Baltimore-Los Angeles Angels game has started on the first. It starts to get you disoriented up here. Where the heck am I?
Well, let's help you out with some scores. Toronto beat Boston 6-4. Toronto comes into Yankee Stadium on Friday. So that's a game that impacts the American League East. Baltimore and LA, as Paul said, just started out in Anaheim.
The Reds lost again. They got swept here. Then they lost 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee already.
Tampa Bay's winning again.
Boy, they're hot. They're playing St. Louis.
Well, there's the American League East standings right now. The Orioles are playing, as we mentioned, at the moment. The Blue Jays have won, so they gain a half game on the O's. Yankees are winning, but they're still 4 back until this is complete. The Rays 8 back and the Red Sox 9 back. So the Red Sox look like they were creeping back in this, and now they've lost a couple of games to Toronto. And Tampa Bay is putting itself in the position, John, it would be very difficult to sell to their fans to trade David Price, because they're still within striking distance, especially of the wild card.
Yeah, it's just amazing how quickly things have changed. And you know what? You got to give Joe Madden credit down there, because even when things look really bad, he kept saying, I believe in my club. We have all the pieces. We're going to, you know what? And they have turned it around.
Now, talking about coming back after a rain delay, Madison Bumgarner and A.J. Burnett in Philadelphia tonight, Giants and the Phillies, they had a 59-minute rain delay in the 4th inning. Both of them came back to pitch. They're both in the game right now. It's 0-0 in the 8th inning. So both have given them 7 shutout innings at this point. But 59 minutes is different than an hour and a half. I'd say that's 31 minutes more. Did quick math. As the Yankees now just waiting to see what's going on. Where did the umpires go? What are they talking about? And who are they talking to? And Yu Darvish doesn't seem as if he has a care in the world. You know, one of the big points of discussion is what Yu Darvish said to the Japanese media at the All-Star game, and we touched on a little bit during the game that he thinks that you could cut back on Tommy John surgeries if, in fact, you went to a 6-man rotation. And John and Paul, what do you think the viability of that is here in the States?
You know what? I think some people have tinkered with it in the past, and to give guys extra rest, I guess it could happen. I don't know. I mean, if you look at injuries, just the way they're just blowing up teams this day and age, somebody might take a chance with it.
It would have to be a team with a lot of pitching depth. So I'm not sure that you could do that. Now, Meredith Morakovitz is down in the camera well right where the umpires disappeared, and she has a little bit of an update for us. Meredith, what's going on?
Well, Michael, I just talked to a couple of members of the grounds crew, and they had said the infield dirt's still a little bit soft, as you can imagine. So right now, the umpires are still in that umpires room discussing exactly what the course of action would be. I asked him, in the event that they decide to play this and continue on, what would be the course of action and how long would it take for that to dry out a little bit to be playable conditions? And he said the best method of attack would most likely be taking that top layer off and then reapplying it. So that would certainly take some time. But right now, the umpires still in that room discussing exactly what they're going to do.
Now, are they discussing amongst themselves, Meredith, or are they calling Central Baseball?
Michael, unfortunately, they won't let me in that room. If they would, I would certainly be able to give you that answer. But you have to imagine not only are they having a discussion with themselves, but when you talk about a surface that's maybe not up to par as far as playable standards are concerned, you would think that they would consult Major League Baseball with what direction to go.
Well, that makes sense, Meredith, because if they were just talking amongst themselves, they could do that on the field.
They could most certainly do that on the field, right?
Very odd what's happening right now, but as soon as we find out what is happening, we will get that information to you. So we'll give you a little bit of a recap. At 8:46, the storm rolled in, and boy, did it roll in. It was nasty, windy, thunder, lightning, and then the crew made its first attempt to get the tarp on, couldn't, then goes backwards with it. And then as they're trying to do this, they finally did it, but you can see that infield skin is just very, very wet. They did their job. They put the drying agent on. They did the best that they could. Now, it looks good from up here. Then Dale Scott and Joe Girardi are checking out the base path. That was a while ago, and as Meredith said, it seems a little bit soft. And if it's soft, Paul, somebody could get hurt. You could spin your wheels.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, it doesn't take much, and it looks dry because but if it's wet underneath, that doesn't look dry. I mean, it looks like quicksand, if you ask me. See, I looked at my monitor. You really can't see that. You look over at your monitor, Flash, you can see water standing.
High definition?
Yeah.
Well, you see water standing right there on the end. We always joke about this. They're not caring that much about the outfielders, but the infield, there is no water standing. That's, the warning track, and that's foul territory, and that's where they usually dump some of the water, so that takes a long time to dissipate. But right now, you look at the field, it looks dry. But there is a little bit of a sheen to it, and when there's a little bit of a sheen to it, that means it's a little bit wet. And I don't know how that's going to get dry just sitting here. I mean, that could be the next round of drying agent getting ready. But as Meredith said, if the best course of action here is to strip it the way it is, which is kind of muddy, take the top layer off, and then put more of that drying agent on. So we sit and we wait, and we wonder why it's taking so long.
Sounds like a song right there. We sit, we wait, and we wonder.
Why don't we write it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing to me? Have you noticed during this little break, you can talk. Flash and I need action, something to look at, to talk about. You can just flat out sit here and talk.
Well, a 4-hour radio show kind of makes you do that.
Gives you a little practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the Yankees lose the first game of this series, and yesterday it takes 4 hours and 51 minutes and 14 innings, and they win a game. And, John, you said it at the beginning, momentum only goes as far as your next day's starting pitcher. But, boy, it would be a different Yankee team that came out on the field today if they had, in fact, lost yesterday's game. Yesterday's game was about as big a game as you could have on, in late July.
Yeah, you hate to say it would have been a backbreaker, but, I mean, all the opportunities and not being able to score some runs and showing some personality at the end of that game, fighting back. I mean, that brings a ball club together where you start believing you can win some close games. And we talked about the next day's starting pitcher. Phelps showed up tonight. He's not going to finish this game, but he did exactly what he needed to do.
Now, one of the things that we keep hearing is that, Brian Cashman's constantly working the phone, and there's some guesswork. Does he need another starting pitcher? Does he need a hitter? And, he was on the radio show today, and he pretty much said that if he had to choose one, it would be a hitter. But he did say that he was in on the blockbuster with the Cubs. He said, you know, we were in on some Arjen Hamel, so that's what they were looking for. Then you got to acquire what you can acquire. And if the only thing that's out there is a pitcher, and that's what makes your team better, you have to do that. Right now, there's not a lot of bats available. Well, the Rangers, according to multiple sources, have traded Joaquin Soria right now to the Detroit Tigers for pitchers Jake Thompson and Corey Knebel. And I'll tell you what, the Tigers are a good team. Joe Nathan has not done the job as their closer after signing him to a 2-year free agent deal. Job has been great in the 8th inning. They probably don't feel comfortable having him close games, so they go and acquire Soria. That's probably the last piece for this Tiger team, and now they feel they could make a run. So there are still deals being made. There are still phone calls being made. The bullpen is not an area of concern for the Yankees, so that's something the Yankees were not in on.
I guess that's what happens when you have a rain delay. The GMs can get to work, right? You don't have to watch your ball club play.
Now, the trade has been agreed upon, but will be completed after physicals. So we will see. The last time Soria pitched for the Rangers, he blew the game, and that was yesterday. So I guess he was in the clubhouse, and wonder if he's been told now. Starting to rain again here at the stadium. Wind is flapping from left to right. The flags over the grandstand blowing that way. And now it's raining harder than it has been since it stopped with the big downpour.
Flash, I'm telling you what, if I see the grounds crew come out to put the tarp back on, you and I, we're going to go down there to start tackling people. No, it's not coming on again. It's not meant to be. If we have to tarp this field again, it's not meant to be. I'm telling you. And we got players down there catching raindrops.
That's Brendan Ryan.
If anybody could catch something, it would be him. That guy could catch anything.
And he's also catching, I guess, sunflower seeds thrown up there by Brian Roberts. This is how rain looks in Yesmo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz dealer.
Now, snowflakes are never the same, Michael. Did you know that?
Everyone's different.
Raindrops different?
You know what? I've got to ask people. I don't know. Yeah. Should I Google that?
I don't know. If I could, like, open it up like you can an iPhone, I could zoom in on those and then check them out. Now, wait a minute.
Well, more tarp.
Let's go down there. Let's go get them.
See, they're putting water on the field.
They put water on the field. There was water in that tarp. So now, with the rain, the Rangers are heading back into the dugout. They've been standing out on the warning track in front of their dugout. And now the grounds crew is going to put the tarp back on. So, Paul, man of your word, you go down there and you start tackling people.
Hang on a second, bro. Let's go. Flash.
They might need you to help.
No, Rob Gomez took over. He went down there. He was the anchor.
Now, you wonder if this will expedite any kind of decision that the umpires might have been making. There's Danny Cunningham.
So you want to be a groundskeeper, right, Danny Cunningham?
Now, the more you put that tarp on and take it off, it becomes heavier and heavier and more difficult to roll out. But they'll do it right here. And the thing about Cunningham, he's not one of those leaders that just tells you, all right, you do this, you do that. He's there. Look at him.
Like George Washington on the boat.
That's right. Now, here come the umpires. They're going to talk to Ron Washington. Now, neither of these are Dale Scott, who's the crew chief, so they're probably just filling him in. That's Dan Iasonia and Quinn Walcott. And coming into the picture shortly will be C.B. Buckner. But Dale Scott is probably still in the umpires room talking to somebody. And now they'll go over and they'll talk to Joe Girardi.
And I tell you what, Joe Girardi, in the back of his mind, I don't care what you say, is hoping that this thing is done. I mean, his bullpen, he could use a night off. You just beat you, Darvish, if this game is over. Uh-oh, we just hit another sticking point with the tarp.
Yep. They got through it this time.
You know what, Paul, all the injuries that the Yankees have had to deal with. I mean, Kelly Johnson goes down last night. Now you have a wet field, and I'm sure that's in the back of Joe's mind as well.
I would not think that Darvish would come back out now, but we didn't think there's any chance he would come back out before. Who knows if this game is going to resume, so Sean Kelly was shut down about 20 minutes ago. And there's nobody throwing. In fact, the tarp is on both mounds and the bullpens. So Joe Girardi gets the information from the umpires, and neither umpire has signaled. They would point up to the press box and say, this is called, so it is not called. They're going to wait this out. I wonder, guys, if they take into consideration that tomorrow's a day game. I mean, are you going to sit here and wait until 3, 4 in the morning to play a game where you have to play a game at 1 o'clock?
I wouldn't think that it would be in the consideration. I mean, if this was a two teams fighting for first place, you can't let that come into it. But, I mean, you have to take the situation in hand. I mean, if you got a wet field, you've been here already, what, an hour and a half, whatever. The field at this point tonight is never going to be 100%.
No.
And you do have a day game tomorrow, so let's throw that in the equation. There's Joey Lee. Came out to get a few seeds.
And now the Yankees are leaving the dugout, and they're going to go into the clubhouse. And they're taking the bat, too. Their bats. Now, does that mean something? I mean, would they leave the bats out there during a rain delay, or are they taking the bat thinking that the game's rained out?
That, or you're taking it just to stay loose. You're going to go take some swings.
Now, the key decision here, Paul, is what do you eat now? Do you go for half a sandwich?
I could never eat during the game. I just got that feel. I went all night. It was really, I ate like 2:30 in the afternoon and then didn't eat till after the game.
Well, what has happened to you since you became a broadcaster?
You got to make up, Michael. I missed it for so many years. Now I'm taking advantage of it.
Now, all kidding aside, the key sign, the tell sign, like if you're playing poker, you have to look at the Gatorade buckets. Once you see them empty the Gatorade buckets, it's over.
Those are my old friends. Leave them alone. Look, they're getting airtime.
They got plenty of airtime when you played here. But really, if you see the clubhouse kids dump that onto the field, then it's over. Right now, they're still very much in play. Look at poor Mike Maddox. No shoulder to grab, no chest to tap. But he's going into the clubhouse, and he'll think about that.
Taking my books and going home.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We've got that beautiful, sad rain delay music, which we hate to hear. But we're still here at Yankee Stadium trying to entertain you, so come on back. We'll be here when you do.